Okay, today's lesson will entail using the Pythagorean theorem to solve word problems. And what we are going to see is the strategy that we're going to use to be able to do this. So let's just recall that the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are the legs, c is the hypotenuse. Now, the strategy we're going to do is pretty straightforward. You just have to be careful that you match the picture to what we're talking about. Now, if you think about it, if we're using the Pythagorean theorem, it means we have a specific shape, and that shape is the right triangle. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a right triangle to represent the objects given. We're going to label each side to represent an object or distance. Okay? And label the unknown side with a variable. So we have 4 problems we're going to do. And let's see if after doing these you can get a good idea of what's happening. So we have a ladder 15 feet long against a wall. Bottom of the ladder is 5 feet from the wall. How far up the wall does the ladder reach? So we draw a right triangle. Now we have to be very practical in what we're talking and logical here. A ladder is always going to be on an incline. So here's our ladder, and that's where the 15 goes. We have a wall, a building, a tree, a pole are the vertical sides. And then what we are given is that the bottom of the ladder here is 5 feet from the base of the wall, base here, so that's the 5. We want to know how far up the wall the ladder reaches, so we want to find that side. Once we've done that, we're back to our regular Pythagorean theorem problems. X squared, and look, you can use x, you can use a, you can use b, it doesn't matter what you use. Plus 5 squared equals 15 squared, so x squared plus 25 equals 225. X squared equals 200. I take the square root, it says to the nearest foot, 14 feet. Okay. Next one, we have a skateboard ramp. This orientation is very poor. All right. So you have a skateboard ramp, vertical distance of 2.5 feet, horizontal distance of 10, length of the ramp. So again, there's our skateboard ramp. Vertical distance, straight up and down, is 2.5. Horizontal distance is 10. The length of the ramp, x. 2.5 squared plus 10 squared is equal to x squared. 6.25 plus 100, x squared. 106.25 is equal to x squared. You take the square root. It says to the nearest tenth of a foot, 10.3 feet is x. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. We have a flagpole, a 12-foot flagpole. So here's our flagpole. There's 12. It's placed in the center of the square. To stabilize it, they will take a wire from the top of the pole to the corner of the square. The flagpole is 7 feet from the corner where the wire meets the ground. So the 7 feet is there. What is the length of the wire That's here because that's where the wire is. The wire went from the top of the flagpole to the ground. So what do I have? 12 squared plus 7 squared equals x squared. 144 plus 49 equals x squared. So it said to the nearest tenth of a foot, 13.9 feet is x. Then lastly, a television screen is in the shape of a rectangle. So we have a rectangle, right? Its size is determined by the length of the diagonal. Here's my diagonal. The width of the screen is 36. The length of it is 21. What is the size of the TV, or what's the size of the diagonal? Well, you should know that the diagonal forms two right triangles because you have four right angles. So 21 squared plus 36 squared equals x squared. 441 plus 1296 is x squared. 1937 is x squared. So x is a 42-inch TV. Okay? So again, what we did today is we used the Pythagorean theorem to solve word problems.